Intuitively, I knew that this was not caused by genetics or lifestyle. I knew exactly where my anxiousness came from. It came from a stalking incident.
And that feeling intensely rushed right back in that moment where I had to tell myself to breathe. Anytime now I see a dog after being attacked, that feeling rushes back. Welcome to a conversation between two friends.
This is Alice.
And I'm David.
And this is Truthfully Yours.
We are by no means experts or teachers, just speaking honestly within the bounds of friendship. If you found your way here, maybe there's something in that honesty meant for you too.
We invite you to lean in, and perhaps you'll recognize your own journey in ours.
A dog lunges into an elevator. David has nowhere to go. He ends up in the ER with stitches and a nervous system that no longer feels safe. In this episode, he shares what happened and the small, surprising ways he's learning to cope. A stuffed animal, colored straws. Plus, Alice opens up about her own health crisis and trauma dealing with a stalker, and how she channeled her fear and anxiety onto a journey of somatic healing. This is Truthfully Yours. Now, here's Alice and David.
I have not used the elevator since the day I got attacked by a dog in the elevator. Why are we clapping? No, but why are we clapping for that? I have not used the elevator because I'm too scared.
No, because that's steps. And I'm obsessed with steps.
Oh, steps.
Because I want to get like 15K steps a day.
Okay, here I was trying to trauma vent.
I'm a terrible friend. I don't know how to deal with trauma, but with laughter.
No, you're right. There's the silver lining.
How demented is it that your friend, her brain went right there? Like, oh my God, that's amazing. Look at how many steps you'll get from not using the elevator. Yet, you just got back from the ER after being attacked by a dog. And I don't know why I do this. This is a bad thing that I do. People will tell me something really bad happened to them, and then I always say the most inappropriate things, and then I end it with laughter. I'm so sorry.
Well, wait a minute. Whoa. First of all, none of that is true. And I think where you're coming from is just very you. It's where you're focused on in your life in this moment. And that's totally fine. And plus, I didn't give you a whole lot of context, right? The fact that the dog lunged into the elevator as the door opened and I had nowhere to go fueled such trauma that I don't even know if I fully processed this yet.
Mm-hmm.
And so placing myself into that very small cubicle box does not seem so fun right now. And I do understand that when you're faced with a traumatic event, the best thing you can do is slowly reintroduce your nervous system into a new pattern where it can then recognize safety. This is actually not the first traumatic event that I experienced this year within the last few months. So some people might think, a torn Achilles while you're running the bases on a baseball field would be traumatic. I'm not afraid to try to run again. I just don't have that fear. It's just something that just happened and kind of sucks. I didn't have that moment of took my breath away, kind of afraid. But what did have me afraid, the crutch, was instead of lifting it and going down to the next step, it got stuck on the step behind me. My momentum was going forward, and so it picked me up off the ground by my shoulder and my armpit. But that feeling of fear as I was lifted and no longer had control, no feet on the ground, my hands weren't able to hold anything to save me, and knowing that I was extremely vulnerable with my leg in a cast, I can still very vividly remember that feeling.
Mm-hmm.
Came to me in nightmares several nights after that event happened. Even a month later, went to the Mariners game with my sister, and we sat up on the 300 level because we wanted a view of the city and the sunset. And those stairs on the 300 level are steep as fuck. And you look down, and we sat right on the front row. So I took a peek over the edge, and that feeling intensely rushed right back in that moment where I had to tell myself to breathe. So yeah, so that happened. And then anytime now I see a dog after being attacked, that feeling rushes back. So if you haven't been to a Mariners game recently, they started doing this thing in the past few years where they call it the salmon races. They're just basically people in costume. There's king salmon, there's sockeye salmon, there's some others, silver maybe, and then there's humpy. which is named after humpback salmon, which is actually a thing. And Humpy, God, he's such a fan favorite. So he never wins a race. So they finally let Humpy win one. And anyway, the whole city lost its shit, at least the Mariners baseball fans. And so ever since that moment, I've wanted to have like a plush Humpy doll. So I bought one. And so when I woke up in the middle of the night with a nightmare, I just was falling through space, right?
Yeah.
I just grabbed my Humpy doll and I said, you know what? I need sleep. So I'm just going to give all of my like fear about this to you.
Oh.
And of course, Humpy didn't say anything back to me, but yeah, so I was able to go back to sleep. Yeah, and I haven't figured out what it's going to be my Humpy for this dog attack. But what's kind of unnerving to me about being attacked by a dog is not so much just that these animals often possess like a fierce like attitude side to them and teeth and strong jaws, that the humans who control them are sometimes not responsible as they should be. I've recently learned that the dog that attacked me in my condo building is in trouble for already attacking at someone else. And come on, like I had to go to the emergency room and get stitches. And it was a very traumatic experience. And I missed 8 hours I would have been studying and completed my exam. So then I had to like miss a camping trip with my family or shorten it because of all of this. And now the amount of work that I have to do after, provide medical records, try to track down 2 witnesses that were in the elevator with me. Who has time for this? So often that society expects the victim to be doing all of this extra work when I didn't do the irresponsible thing in the first place. I was just riding the elevator. Anyway, 2026 has been a fun year for me. I told you about my straw story, right? I go to my local smoothie shop after the gym sometimes. I'll reward myself with a protein smoothie. And I've just queued in. They have this like big sort of container full of different color straws. They have yellow, they have green, they have orange, and I think like pink. And so I've picked the color of straw based on how I am feeling emotionally that day. So today was a green straw day, and I always associate green with growth. If I go to the gym and I set a new personal best, if that happens, I'll get a green straw. Yellow is like a Leo color, more tied into your identity, like loving yourself, learning more about yourself and supporting yourself and centering yourself more. So some days I feel like, no, I'm doing very good at that today. Like I love who I am today. And so I use the yellow straw. And then I just put the orange as kind of like a chill straw. Like I'm not trying to grow today. I'm not trying to be too worried about loving myself today or thinking too much about it. I just want to chill. That's my orange straw. I still haven't figured out what the pink straw is, but we'll come up with something.
I'm listening to you, and you were just in the ER a couple days ago, and you're telling me about the straws that you're picking and the emotions that you're attaching and the feelings you're attaching with the color of the straws. And I'm thinking, this is a very in-tuned person who's very in tune with how he feels and has an awareness of that, which I feel like a lot of people don't, because a lot of times when trauma happens to people, what a lot of people tend to do when they process it is they tend to like stuff it, or their mind goes to maybe dark places. A lot of people get very depressed or they get filled with anxiety. I know for myself, when you're talking about the nervous system, it was either last year or the year before, I got diagnosed with hypertension too at that. And it's just so ridiculous because I eat really good. I exercise a lot. And if you were to look at me from outside appearances, you wouldn't think that I would have to deal with hypertension. But when this happened, it happened at the dentist's office because I guess now they take your blood pressure and they wouldn't work on my teeth. And so this was the first time I was told about this. And then I went and saw a cardiologist, and basically, he was telling me it could be genetic and all these other things, but I knew that wasn't the case. Like intuitively, I knew that this was not caused by genetics or lifestyle. I knew exactly where my anxiousness came from that was setting off my hypertension. And it came from a stalking incident that I had at the pickleball courts.
Yeah, yikes. This is before I knew you. I knew you when you were trying out different blood pressure medications. Like, that was new, but I didn't know about this fella until you.
Yes, you didn't know about it because I didn't tell a lot of people about it because it was so icky to me. And it was very traumatic. And what happened was there was a man who was stalking me from court to court.
Yes.
And he was also following me to my car. And then when I was waiting to play a game, he would try to stand next to me. And then I would move like 10 feet down and he would work his way so he was still next to me.
Mm-hmm.
And I always thought this person was on the spectrum. And so I was just always nice to him and nothing more than pleasantries. Like, this is somebody I would not be friends with in real life at all. But I wanted him to feel included, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so when the stalking happened, he had sent a photo of himself in just like a swimsuit on a beach. It was really weird during the holidays, out of nowhere. And this person was married, and I just thought, this is weird. And I won't get into the events that happened afterwards, but basically my husband got involved, confronted him twice, but he would not leave me alone. And so thankfully there were people in our group that would shield me from him, people who would walk me to my car. And this guy just never got the hint. But when that happened, it was so traumatic for me that when I was at home, I would pull all my curtains in the front of the house in case he was like watching me. And I was so scared. And then anytime I saw him, he would show up at the courts knowing I played there. I would leave immediately. And thinking about what happened to you and what that does to your nervous system, because from that point on, my nervous system hasn't been the same now.
Oh, yes, yes.
You know, when I think about the silver lining in all of this, there is one actually. It put me on this journey of understanding issues that I have within myself that were setting off my nervous system since being diagnosed with high blood pressure. Like, that was the event that put me into hypertension. But other things since then kept my hypertension high. Now, the stalking part has resolved itself. He doesn't do it anymore. And when he has tried to,
Yeah, yikes.
I have made it very clear to him publicly, very loudly, that he is a stalker. He's not welcome because I heard that he was doing this to other young women.
Yeah.
And so when I publicly shamed him in front of like hundreds of people, he stopped showing up at the court. Thank God. This put me on this whole journey of doing a lot of somatic therapy for myself, breath work, meditation, Feldenkrais, which is a movement, Pilates. I'm actually going to start Vinyasa yoga tonight. I'm adding that to my routine. Yeah, I'm starting that tonight. Yeah, I'm excited. I'm doing all these things, and I'm not going to say I'm thankful to this person for putting me on this path. But what I will say is that with every traumatic event that happens to us, there's a way at looking at these traumatic events as, okay, yes, it happened. Yes, it sucks. But how can I take it and use it for good in my life so that it's not going to impact me in the way that would hinder me from enjoying life to the fullest?
Wow.
Right?
This is where awareness serves you really well. Like talk therapy. You know, we all should go to therapy. We love it, but it can only go so far. So when you describe like somatic therapy and different ways of engaging your body, like so many of our emotions live within our body, and it helps to talk about it, describe it. It helps to have an understanding of it, but that can only do so much. And so, you know, things like reframing our nervous system to experience the same thing again and realize, no, it's actually safe. Like, I can go on the elevator. I'll work up to it. Like, it can be a safe experience, especially if I make sure I stand way far away from the door and do different things to like look out for myself. And also a good way of healing is telling your story and warning other people that, hey, this stuff happened to me, and it may seem crazy, but it happens, and even in the safety of your own home. But yeah, no, I hear you. And so having the awareness and like trying new things, trying different things only helps you to experience new levels of healing.
If you enjoyed today's conversation, subscribe to Truthfully Yours wherever you get your podcasts. New episodes weekly on Thursdays. We'd love for you to share this with someone who might need to hear it. For more about the show and Alice and David, visit truthfullyyours.com.